Welcome! X4 Foundations can be overwhelming at first, but after this tutorial you'll be more than prepared. We'll check out how to fly your ship, which keys to bind, how to navigate, and some basic money making. First, let's get a feel for the universe. X4 is not your static sandbox where you create your own objective and that's it. It's a simulation and will basically play itself without your interference. This means you can take things slowly. No need to rush. If, for example, the common enemy, the Xenon, decide to gather a few destroyers and burn down some stations, there's little you can do against it anyways. At least in the early stages of the game. So no need to restart then. Xenon aggression is also randomly generated every time you start a new game. As a conclusion, you never know what you get, which means you just have to deal with whatever the circumstances may be. So with that out of the way, let's pick a game start. There are lots of options here, especially if you own all the DLCs. Still, there's one classic option which I consider the best if you're new to the game. It's the Young Gun start. It's average in many aspects, which is a good thing. Your starter ship is okay, your relations with most factions are at least neutral, and you start the game near the ring highway, which connects most of the core systems. The other game starts focus on different aspects, like the Unworthy Entrepreneur for example. 200,000 credits, 2 ships and a station seem tempting at first, but you start a few jumps away from the ring highway and managing a station plus 2 ships might be too much if you're just starting out. It also takes away the experience of building your first owned station coming from nothing. First of all, let's check out the most important key bindings. Here's my mouse and keyboard scheme I use to play the game with. You can search for specific bindings in the controls menu. First and most important, the steering mode switch. I have toggle mouse steering bound to a side button of my mouse. You will use it a lot to constantly switch between maneuvering your ship and selecting stuff, so bind it where you can access it quickly and conveniently. On my second side button is throttle to 0, which just stops your ship. Always nice to have while docking, trying to scan something, or in fights for example. Mouse wheel sets your speed. Left button selects stuff, right button opens contextual menus. Third mouse button fires your main guns. And that already is most of the stuff you need. So let's undock and get into space. Climb into the ship, click on the pilot's chair to take control. The menu popping up here can be accessed everywhere with the return key. Its content will change depending on the situation. If you ever search for a command, like for example if you want to drop a satellite, start by pressing return. If you hover over the buttons, you will see the corresponding key bindings as a tooltip. You can click Get Up to get up again, for example, or just press Ctrl and D. This undocks you from the chair. Why I remember it this way? Because Shift D undocks your ship, and that's what we do. Activate steering mode, turn the ship, and leave the station. And here's another key I bound. Mouse look is set to the arrowy key here next to left shift. If you also bind it there, like I did, you can now use your pinky to freely look around. Which is nice to just observe things or if you're searching something specific. Alright, here's some more ship controls. I use space to strafe up, C to strafe down, A to strafe left, and D to strafe right. Q and E roll the ship in either direction. W and S for acceleration and reverse, just like the mouse wheel. That's it, except for one last engine control. You can trigger a temporary boost which uses your shields as fuel with a tab key, as you can see here. Blue are your shields, the white arc is your ship's armor. Directly above it is your set speed indicator. Now let's take a look at the map. That's where you'll spend a lot of the game, especially in the later phases. Press M to open it. Zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. As you can see, there's a lot of traffic around us. Blue are friendlies, green are your own ships, and red are enemies. On the top right is the Info button. Click it to permanently activate the Info overlay. You now get all the important information and interaction tools displayed immediately whenever you select a ship or station, instead of having to right-click and select information every single time. Doesn't matter if the object is on the map or within one of the lists on the left. Just select anything and boom, everything is at your disposal. Like the selected ship's loadout or the behavior menu, where you can tell your pilots and managers what to do and what not to do. What we want to do now is to reach the Ring Highway, which connects a lot of sectors. The Young Gun game start conveniently places you right next to a sector on the ring. Travel between them is accomplished via jump gates or accelerators. In our case, it's the west gate of the sector we're floating around in right now, which is Black Hole Sun 4. Here's another convenient function. If you select any object on the map, like the jump gate we want to use, just press T to mark it as your current target. A white arrow will now point you into the right direction. Gates and accelerators are rendered even far away, so if you look closely, you can quickly spot most gates and accelerators in unmapped sectors. As you can see, it would take an unholy amount of time to reach the selected gate at our current speed. So, go into travel mode by pressing Shift 1. After crossing the sector, we jump through the gate and steer towards the highway. Pressing the Stop Engines button we bound earlier also gets you out of travel mode, which is quite convenient. What you can do now is just let your ship automatically traverse the Ring Highway. This way, you get a first impression of where some factories and important stations like wharves and equipment docks are, and a general idea of how the playfield is organized. Just sit on the highway and wait until you reach your starting point again. Oh, and if you ever lose your ship on the map, just press R to center on it. Maybe zoom in, and there it is. Now that you know your way around, there's money to be earned. As you traverse the Ring Highway, you might have noticed yellow icons popping up on stations. These are missions. You can check all the missions you encountered within the last minute or so in the Mission Offers tab on the map. Mine removal missions are easy and nice to begin with, especially because you have a pulse laser on your starter ship. It effortlessly destroys mines at a safe distance. Missions which involve dropping satellites or laser towers are very easy money too. In general, just look out for the very easy tag and you're good. The Warfare only offers a Missed My Ride mission though, which isn't bad, in fact it's good for our tutorial. So let's accept it. The game immediately activates guidance to the first objective. We need to pick up our passenger. So let's dock. Good thing to know, the yellow guidance marker always marks the dock on a station. Ask for docking permission via the return menu or just press Shift D. Green lights will guide you towards the assigned docking bay. You then land by aligning all the markers. The circle in the middle marks where your ship's nose should be pointed vertically. The bars to the left and right show whether your ship is tilted to one side or the other, and the markings on the bottom indicate your ship's position over the landing pad. The triangle in the middle will turn green only just before you touch down, because it stays red until you're low enough to finally initiate the docking sequence. The process is kinda tedious, I know, and we'll fix that shortly. To do that, we need to complete the mission and earn some money. Get up, Ctrl D, leave the ship, and follow the yellow marking to your customer. Double tap W to run. Use the transporter. The location you need to go is marked in yellow again. Talk to the customer and tell her to go to your ship. Back at the ship, the mission tracker in the lower right tells us that we should dock at a construction vessel. Undock, Shift D, activate steering and leave the docking bay. The Mammoth construction vessel is right in front of us. Activate travel mode, Shift 1 and catch up to it. As you enter a specific distance, Notice how your ship automatically retains speed and position relative to the large vessel. Target it by clicking on it and press Shift D to request docking. Then dock. Your passenger will automatically disembark, and as you can see, the money has already been booked. Now let's solve that pesky docking problem. We need to upgrade our ship with a docking computer. That's done at a wharf. A wharf builds and outfits small and medium ships. Everything larger needs a shipyard. Let's pretend we don't know where the wharf we just came from is located. To get directions, you can just ask any NPC you come across. They also give directions to a sector you didn't discover yet if it's part of a mission. In this case, we right-click on the mammoth and pick Comms. Go to Where can I find and pick the wharf. That's it. Guidance starts automatically. If you feel lazy, you can press Shift A to activate the autopilot, which will fly the ship back to the wharf by itself. It's a nice tool for later because you can manage your empire while traveling somewhere automatically. Alright, after docking, we select Upgrade Repair Docked Ships from the menu. You can upgrade a lot of stuff in a wharf, but what we want right now is software. We want the docking computer Mark II. You can buy more stuff if you want, maybe some satellites and resource probes because some missions required these items. After you're done with shopping, click on Add to Shopping List and Confirm Order. That's it. Docking just became a lot easier. Let me show you. If you now request docking, your ship will land by itself once you get close enough to the indicated landing pad. Awesome! Now that you know the basics of X4, there's one last thing you can do. Set Maintain Speed in menus so your ship doesn't stop once you open the map and other menus. And here's a bonus tip. Press Backspace to reduce all movement to 0. This is especially useful in your spacesuit since it will remove any drift and make you float in place. Now get out there and explore. You will find activities like trading, mining, fighting and station building you can get into later in the game. You can even own whole sectors with an attached police force to make sure everything's fine while you're somewhere else. More tutorials coming up. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them all. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and see you soon.